And we have a go for auto sequence start. Discovery's onboard computers have primary control of all the vehicle's critical functions.
Welcome to the Launchpad. I am Patrice Washington, your guest host, filling in for Harry Washington. The Launchpad is sponsored by Pursuing a Dream Corporation. Pursuing a Dream Corporation is an organization that works to promote science, technology, engineering, and math in our community. The Launchpad's focus is to educate viewers and organizations on activities and resources that are readily accessible in the community. Today I am excited to have with me Dr. Arundhati Gyaro with the Center for Excellence in Education. Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you.
Can you tell our viewers a little about your organization and what you do there?
Sure. Our Center for Excellence in Education was established in 1983 by the late Admiral Rickover and the current president, Joanne DeGennaro of our center. We have going to be completing 30 years, and we are very excited to be celebrating 30 years anniversary with all our alumni of all our programs. The center's major mission is to nurture excellence in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in students with academic abilities, with high academic abilities, both nationally and internationally. So that's one of the major goals of our center, and towards this we have designed programs which do cater to both students, teachers in high schools and colleges.
Great. What influenced your decision to seek employment with the CEE?
It's been very interesting. I've been a physicist for a good part of my adult life, and then I transited into education and into policy later on. While I was an Albert Einstein Distinguished Educator Fellow, I was invited by the center to participate in their National Lab Skills Symposium in 2010, which is today the teacher enrichment program of our center. So that was an interaction that I had directly with the center. But prior to that, as an educator and department chair at my school, I was always looking for programs for my students. And I taught in the girls' school, so this was something which was very dear to me, both program which involves research in science and encourages girls and academically challenging circumstances. So I have been very familiar with the center's activities for almost a decade now with both my students and my own children. So both as a parent and an educator. And so when the opportunity arose in fall last year, when the center had an opening for a STEM strategist, I was keen on joining them so that I could go ahead and focus on something which is a passion for me, which is STEM education, research, and encouraging girls in STEM education.
Great. I know you and we talked briefly before the show, and you are very passionate about working with STEM and introducing STEM occupations to young girls. Can you talk to us about some of the actual programs that the CEE has for high school and college students?
Sure. So the center has three main programs. One is our signature Research Science Institute, or the RSI, which is going to be finishing its 38 years, and we are celebrating the anniversary, as I said. And the Research Science Institute is a program which we sponsor in partnership with MIT, which is meant for students who are academically talented in science and technology and engineering and mathematics to pursue research in summer of their junior years at MIT and neighboring colleges. So it's an intensive 6-week program. RSI is also run in just not nationally, but we also have international collaborations. In fact, our student body at RSI in MIT, the 6-week period, has 50 students from US and 30 students from outside US. The second program that we have is the USA Biology Olympiad, and that is a fairly newer version, but newer program that we have. It's been running for the last 10 years, but it's also a program which challenges students interested in biological sciences to sign up, and then it also offers resources to biology teachers with something called the Teachers Resource Center that we have associated with the USABO, which provides a lot of information for the teachers, especially for teachers in rural and inner city areas. The third program that we have, and by the way, the USABO is done in partnership with the Purdue University. And then the third program that we have is the Teacher Enrichment Program, which has 3 components, which has got 6 components. It's the first one is the Clearinghouse, which is a compendium of resources that we offer to the teachers. This is all open source. And then we have a Bite of Science program, where we bring in scientists, professionals, industrialists, engineers, to meet with 25 teachers who sign up for this program as at an evening of informal dinner, where they're introduced to what is happening in science research laboratories, industry, and make the connection to the real world for the teachers. And then we also have the lab bench, which is another tool that we provide to everybody, including the Bite of Science participants, and it's all open source. It contains videos, webinars, and seminars, PowerPoint presentations, targeted clearinghouse resources towards these topics, and then something that the teacher can use, the students can access. So this is all resources which are available for all of them to use. And then we also have a strong private-public partnership. In fact, at Northern Virginia, we are having a partnership with Microsoft to introduce teachers to certain programs, and so we use our private partnerships to help the teachers in rural areas, in urban areas, to make sure that they get those connections and make those connections to have, help their classrooms. And there's a CE blog which talks about current issues. And I think I have talked about all the 6 components. So these are all programs which are offered to students and teachers, and they're all absolutely cost-free. So all our funding comes from corporations, agencies, individuals, and government agencies. So we do not charge anything for our programs. So all we are interested is in making sure that all these research programs and enrichment programs are offered to students who are academically able, and cost is never an issue for them. So everything is taken care of.
You have shared a number of programs that your organization offers. Just out of curiosity, what percentage of young girls who start off with an interest actually continue to have an interest in a STEM occupation once the program's ended?
Mm-hmm. Well, our enrollment is very good. We have 37% of girls in our programs enrolling, and then of these, 90% or more of them go on to pursue degrees in STEM majors, and of them we have something like 82% STEM professionals. So we have a retention rate of at least 80% of our graduates from our programs retaining in STEM careers.
Good. So, in speaking of this retention, because those numbers are great, what strategies has CEE developed to keep these girls interested?
So some of the strategies that we use have to do with networking. So we have a very strong alumni network. We make sure that everybody stays connected, and a lot of jobs in science and technology come through networking. Our alumni are great at networking. We make sure that we offer whatever private opportunities that we have, which come from our private partnerships, to our students, make sure that the girls come back and they serve as mentors and they serve as counselors, they serve as tutors, they participate in our programs where we have them in MIT or we send them to Saudi Arabia or to China or India. So we have had the girls being encouraged to give back, and we take care of them through this strong alumni network. So that's one way that we make sure that all opportunities that the center gets and whatever these students are highly able, they go on to becoming very connected. So we really encourage our alumni to stay connected with the programs and serve as very strong role models for our girls.
Great. Well, in closing, how can high schools and colleges influence interests in STEM occupations amongst females?
There are several ways that they can do it. High schools in general can participate in programs like the ones that we offer, can send girls over to programs where they're mentored, they have strong mentoring in STEM careers. They can participate in several other science programs which bring the fun into science. It's very important to tell the relevancy of science as well as the fun aspect of STEM careers. So there are several programs which offer all those aspects, including ours, and that's one way that high schools can encourage STEM interest in students. Teachers can encourage that. Colleges also can play a major role. They in fact are doing a lot for young students, high school students. They're offering internships, they're offering programs, they're opening up their departments so that the students come in and participate in activities, they know what is happening. And then they also have educational outreach programs. They have outreach programs not merely for students but also for parents, because a lot of times when you want to encourage a first generation minority student, the parent needs to know where they should send the student. So colleges play a vital role in these aspects, and our partnerships with colleges, both MIT and Purdue, have shown us how important it is that high schools and colleges partner to encourage STEM careers.
Great. Well, Dr. Giara, you have shared a number of resources with us and a lot of information about the CEE. We will be back with our next guest to continue our segment of Women in STEM.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the Launchpad. I am your guest host, Patrice Washington, and today we are joined by Melissa Carl with the American Society of Mechanical Engineers. Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you for having us here today.
Melissa, can you share with us the purpose of the ASME?
Sure. We were founded in 1880 as the American Society of Mechanical Engineers. ASME, now we go by our acronym, is about more than 130,000 members. It's a multidisciplinary organization with all facets of engineering and applied sciences. We have 32 technical divisions, over 200 local sections. Our members are involved in a wide array of activities. Technical, as well as we're very focused on K through 12 science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education. And we've been very involved with the next gen science standards and some other activities in the STEM arena.
Great. And so can you describe or share your role with the organization?
Sure. I'm the manager of government relations at the ASME Washington office. So our office monitors federal policy issues for the society, and specifically I handle science, technology, engineering, and mathematics issues. I've been with ASME for almost 12 years. The best part of my job is taking our members, especially our leadership, up to Capitol Hill. I also serve as the Washington representative for the Society of Women Engineers.
Great. And so, Melissa, do you have a background in engineering or a STEM-related field?
I actually have a background in science, so I have a Bachelor's of Science in Biology from the University of Texas at Austin, and I moved to DC about 14 years ago. But I've actually worked for engineers now for over 13 years at ASME and my other organization, and so I feel like I understand the public policy issues that affect them a lot. And of course, we poll our members regularly.
Well, since this segment is on women in STEM, what influenced you to get an interest in STEM?
Sure. As a biology major for my undergraduate education, that's one of the most female-dominated STEM majors. But when you look to engineering, that's really not the case. So I didn't really realize that until I started working for engineers. So engineers solve a lot of the world's problems, and there's a movement with ASME and others like the Society of Women Engineers to encourage more women and individuals from underrepresented groups to go into STEM. And also, it's quite easy to be inspired by our women members. They're just doing amazing things that are improving everyone's daily lives.
That's great. What percentage or number of ASME members are females?
Well, we're definitely doing a lot to try to improve our diversity. So currently right now about 12% of our collegiate members are women, and then 4% are professionals. But we do have a large number of folks that actually don't identify their gender. The numbers are about 15% of collegiates and 8% of professionals, so our numbers could be larger. But that being said, the diversity of the overall engineering profession, we're really working on that. Women were actually only awarded about 18% of engineering degrees. So while that is much better than the 80s, we do have a long way to go.
Mm-hmm. Well, what are some initiatives that ASME has created to target women in the field of engineering?
Well, so we have a Committee on Diversity and Inclusion Strategy, which is kind of looking at our overall strategy for diversity in this society, including the number of women that are in leadership roles. Mm-hmm. So in the last few years, we've definitely made a concerted effort to improve and promote the women within our leadership. We actually have had 2 recent female presidents, which is great. So we had our third female president a couple years ago, and currently we have a female president who's actually a Canadian citizen. We also have a Women in Engineering affinity group, so that's a way that women in the organization can connect online. And then we have specific events also at our different conferences. So we'll have specific events to celebrate the women in our organization.
That's great. So why would you say that engineering would be an attractive field for female students to consider?
Well, I really think that there's kind of a mismatch between the career aspirations of girls and what the public thinks that they should be doing. So there are a few role models that are apparent to girls within engineering. So we're really trying to make a concerted effort to think about the images of engineering and how the profession is portrayed. You know, girls frequently underestimate their abilities in math and science and engineering, and so they might not think they'd be as successful. Also, adult influencers sometimes discourage girls from entering the fields because they think that they're going to have to, you know, face barriers, but actually engineering education is really a flexible and a rewarding career path, both in occupations and in other areas that, you know, it can lead to patent law and other things like that. Really gaining early hands-on experiences like robotics or science camps are a way that girls can see that engineering is definitely a career path for them.
You raised some really good points. In your opinion, how can high school educators and administrators make STEM more appealing to females?
So high school administrators and other educators can really look at the resources that the National Academy of Engineering has, something called Changing the Conversation, making sure that the messages are not just you have to be, you know, incredibly good at math and science, but that engineers make the world a better place, engineers improve the quality of life. Those messages resonate for girls, underrepresented minorities, and boys too, to see that engineering is something that they should pursue.
So, Melissa, in closing, do you have any other remarks that you'd like to share with our viewers about ASME?
Sure. I just wanted to let y'all know about a specific outreach effort that we've just announced in Prince George's County. Through the support of the ASME Foundation, working with EverFi, a leading technology company, we're sponsoring a web-based interactive STEM education platform that's free to the schools, and it's basically an online simulation that will let students learn about STEM in a fun and interactive way, and they'll hopefully see that STEM, and particularly engineering, is a career choice for them.
Great, great. Thank you for watching. If you'd like more information about either of our guests, please view the credits at the end of the show.